and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Fort Wayne Community School Board of Trustees. We begin each meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a reminder that you can view our meetings. They are open to the public, subject to the mask requirement and the amount of people that we can fit in the room following social distancing guidelines. You can watch on Comcast 54 or Frontier 24, live stream on our Facebook page, or our LTV 2454 Fort Wayne Community School YouTube channel. So, roll call of members.
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Tom Smith, 3rd District.
Maria Norman, member at large.
Ann Duff, member at large.
Raleigh Booker, 4th District. And joining us on the phone.
Glenna Yale, 2nd District.
And I'm Julie Hollingsworth, elected from District 1. Also, we have Angela Filler, the clerk of the board. Good evening.
Good evening.
And our superintendent, Dr. Mark Daniel.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, so we have no awards and recognitions for tonight. That brings us to the consent agenda. These are items that come to us every meeting. They include the minutes from our last meeting on October 26th. They include vouchers and payroll, vouchers for the period ending November 9th, payroll for the period ending October 23rd, and the personnel report. And members have seen all of these items in their packets. Do we have a motion and a second?
I'd move approval of the consent agenda, the approval of minutes, vouchers and payroll, and the personnel report.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Tom. Okay, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And Glenna?
Aye.
Okay, we have an aye. Dr. Daniel, was there anything you wanted to mention in the personnel report?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Oh, and you know what? Just for clarity, you voted yes, correct, Glenna?
Yes.
I should have paused longer. I will do that next time. Okay. So we have no old business. That brings us to new business. And first, we have an emergency. We had an emergency project a couple weeks ago. It's recommended that the board declare an emergency for the following project and allocate funds from the emergency allocation within the capital projects plan. At Arlington Elementary, we had a water main break. So that involved replacement of a portion of the main underground domestic water line, associated piping and valves, boiler room flooring, exterior concrete pavement, and flooring in an adjacent classroom 125. The total expenses were $47,394. This was for the water main break at Arlington Elementary School that flooded the northeast section of the school. This emergency request is for the material and equipment cost associated with the water main break. And questions will be addressed by Pete Smith. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Ann. Questions? Remind me, Pete, what is I know in the operations fund that there is, we have an emergency project budget. What is? Just curious what that is.
$200,000. The dollar amount is $200,000 in that fund.
Okay. And have we used any of it this year besides this?
I think there might have been one smaller emergency earlier in the year, but there was still I think approximately 150,000,
Okay, so
give
we're
or
covered.
take in there. So there still will be a balance of approximately $100,000.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Glenna?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay. And next we have the Fort Wayne Museum of Art Board appointments. It's recommended that the board appoint Amelia Flieger and Melissa Richards to the board of the Fort Wayne Museum of Art for 3-year terms. The Board of School Trustees of Fort Wayne Community Schools is entitled to appoint 2 members to the board of the Fort Wayne Museum of Art. Amelia Flieger is the curriculum coordinator of K-12 High Ability Advanced Placement and Dual Credit and Fine Arts, Music and Art. Whew. And Melissa Edwards is an elementary director. Both have agreed to serve as members of this board. Their 3-year terms would began June 1st, 2020, and will end May 31st, 2023. These appointments support Goal 2, engage parents and the community. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Ann. Questions?
I had one question, and are Amelia and Melissa reappointments, or are they?
New.
They're new, okay. All right.
Any other questions? Okay. So all in favor of approving this appointment signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that motion carried. So, that is all of the new business that we have this meeting. So, we have a report, a bullying prevention presentation by Faye Williams-Robbins, the Chief of Student, Family, and Community Engagement and Secondary Schools. Get Nichols, Chief of Office of School Leadership for Elementary, and Elizabeth Bryan, the Personalized Education Manager, will all be doing our presentation about bullying prevention. Faye?
Good evening. President Hollingsworth, school board members, and Superintendent Daniel. Tonight, the Chief Officer of School Leadership for Elementary and myself will present on Fort Wayne Community Schools bullying policy, procedures, and supports for emotional well-being. I do want to now, so I don't forget, introduce Liz Bryan, who is here with us tonight, and her team, Holly Jones and Donna Ray Reese. If you guys would stand up, please. And they are responsible for pulling together a lot of this work, working with other departments, and so I wanted to make sure that they were recognized for that work.
Thank you for joining us.
Our content tonight will include the bullying definition, requirements established by the state, and how through Fort Wayne Community Schools policy we develop curriculum, implement lessons and strategies, and support students and adults. The state of Indiana, through Indiana Code 2033-8-0.2a, has defined bullying as overt, unwanted, repeated acts or gestures committed by a student or group of students with the intent to harass, ridicule, humiliate, intimidate, or harm a student, creating an objectively hostile school environment. There must be reasonable fear of harm to the student or their property. It must have a substantially detrimental effect to the student's physical or mental health, must substantially interfere with the student's academic performance, or substantially interfere with the student's ability to participate in or benefit from the services, activities, and privileges provided by the school. Fort Wayne Community Schools Board developed Board Policy 5601 in May of 2018. As a result of this policy and state requirements, Fort Wayne Community Schools has a reporting system that includes forms, which you should have in your packet tonight, an investigation process, curriculum, strategies, professional learning, and supports for students and adults. In this next slide, I will share some of the requirements for Fort Wayne Community Schools bullying procedures and policy. According to the state requirements, the guidelines for development of a plan must include definition, research-based instruction, and age-appropriate materials. The plan must be delivered or presented to all students yearly, no later than October 15th. The plan can be delivered by a school safety specialist, which could be an SRO or someone else that is a specialist, school counselor, therapeutic or academic, and any person with training which we provide for our staff and expertise in the area of bullying prevention. Fort Wayne Community Schools use this guidance in the development and approval of its bullying policy. Policies and procedures are fine, but they only address a portion of what must be done when working with students and adults to address bullying. The largest and most effective portion of our plan has to do with how to prevent bullying before it starts, not just waiting until an incident takes place and then investigating. That is why Fort Wayne Community Schools has developed a comprehensive preventative plan that includes Deep Learning 6 C's and the 4 elements. Deep learning is not only a model to be used in the development of learning goals, pedagogy, and collaborative work around academics. It also includes 4 elements that guide how we deliver instruction, the culture and climate of the learning environment, as well as who and how to develop learning partners in academics, as well as in the social-emotional learning curriculum. When looking at deep learning through the lens of what our procedures and policies are around bullying, we see that we must establish and maintain the right district, system, and school conditions. Within those conditions, we specifically look at the learning environment for how we establish and maintain a climate and culture conducive to learning. And we seek out learning partners that will help to support the well-being of our students and our adults. This can come in the form of community resources, such as Lutheran Foundation System of Care, or research-based practices and strategies, such as restorative practices. So what might be some of the strategies and partnerships that help to support our adults and students around social-emotional well-being that assist with bullying prevention? Always focusing first on prevention. Through collaboration with Liz Bryan, her department, which you just met tonight, and the curriculum department, Fort Wayne Community Schools has developed bullying prevention lessons that are embedded in the language arts curriculum. Fort Wayne Community Schools has also hired therapeutic counselors in the elementary schools, provided professional learning and restorative practices to all adults, and partnered with various mental health programs and providers to support students and adults. Fort Wayne Community Schools also utilizes well-being lessons designed by the IDOE in social-emotional competencies. As a school district, we focus heavily on neuroscience, understanding the brain, its development, and the impact that ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, have on brain development. And we also provide lessons on self-regulation, not only for how adults can help to teach students to self-regulate, but how adults themselves stay self-regulated. Because as you know, a dysregulated adult cannot regulate a dysregulated student. At this time, I would like to show a video of some of the materials and strategies used to prevent and address bullying. And Get School Tours, which is one of our partners, will be using this video when it goes to our schools to help with the mental health and bullying aspect.
For many, the daily grind of academics, home life, and the ups and downs of our world can be a challenge. That's why Fort Wayne Community Schools, in partnership with the Bowen Center, are making available free counseling sessions for you as a student to be able to meet discreetly with a one-on-one Bowen Center staff member. These incredible listeners are available so that you can know you're not alone. Our mental health guides our decisions, our understanding of the world, and our perception of self. If you're struggling, reach out today for free counseling by texting the word Bowen to 494949. Your school cares about you. Again, text the word Bowen to 494949 or call 1-800-342-5653 so that you can get the help that you deserve today.
Can I just ask one question before we start, and that is, you know, with the pandemic, I mean, you know, we're all social beings, kids certainly are, staff. So have we done anything differently so far this school year with social, emotional learning?
We are focusing more on virtual family circles, and we're getting ready to talk about that.
Nice.
And
Cool.
we also have, at the elementary level, of course, we have students that are in person. So we have activated our elementary therapists, our case managers, and our administrative assistants are working closely with Faye's department to ensure that we are addressing some of the issues and some of the trauma that students may have gone through this summer. So Faye, can you expound on that? Or
Yeah, I
would
think
you
one
like
of
to?
the other big pieces that we are doing has to do with listening to student voice, asking them what they need. I know Dr. Daniel in his student, the superintendent's student advisory, we talk about those kinds of things. And we have a group that meets on Thursday night. Donna LeRae, Liz actually helped to co-facilitate that. Jeff Roberts from Wayne. And we are asking students, what do you need? We started out this year with COVID, and then we talked about social injustice, and the students are becoming the facilitators as they're talking with other students. So it's been real important this year, as even if we're talking with FWEA, what do teachers need? And I think a lot of this is what Dr. Daniel, when he talks about Wellness Wednesdays, we are seeing people needing more and more and more support. And so we're trying to listen to them so we can provide that support.
Good evening. As you can tell, Faye has shared that deep learning is a culture and a philosophy that goes beyond just academics. It addresses student well-being and their social emotional growth. Well-being and social emotional learning enhances that global competency of character. However, you will see in the next slides how students have grown in other competencies, such as seen up there, as their teachers purposefully plan their social emotional activities and lessons in their daily practice. So what we're getting ready to see are some examples of what schools are doing to address social emotional growth and well-being. And some of these activities are also very helpful for our teachers, because while they are being mindful of how to support their children, they need to also be mindful of supporting and taking care of themselves. So a Frankie Park example is, have you filled a bucket today? Many of you have heard of that book about filling each other's buckets. We want to fill buckets with each other's, in each other's buckets with positive words and positive actions. So that's an emphasis that Frankie Park has done, compliments. Teachers filling each other's buckets. You will also see some pictures of what schools have done. Now, you can tell that they are not socially distancing there. They don't have their masks on. These were from, some of these pictures are from social emotional lessons that they have done last year. So a school like Indian Village not only have their community circles in their classrooms, but they also have what they call their village circle, where they have an entire school working with one another, and they'll focus on monthly character traits. And if you look at August, September, and October, it talks about being respectful, safe, and responsible. Those are three qualities in our schools that are shared district-wide. So from elementary all the way up to high school, you will see posters in our schools talking about being safe, being responsible, and being respectful. So these students, our students, learn from pre-K all the way up to high school that those are three character traits that we really want to emphasize in the schools. Of course, Irwin, being a STEM school, will always integrate what they learn in a STEM setting. So collaboration is one of the global competencies. Their fifth grade students here are working together in silence to build a cup pyramid using string and rubber bands. They're always about problem solving, so they're going to integrate their social emotional lessons with STEM. As you look at Harrison Hill, they have classroom community circles, as you see on the left. However, they also emphasize cross-grade level opportunities to support one another. So on the right, you see an older student working with younger students, either with social emotional lessons or reading a book about character and well-being. And then we also have a community example. Several years ago, we had a young lady by the name of Sammy Vance, a student at Haley, who developed this idea of helping one another. And she developed this idea of a buddy bench, where students will go sit at this bench when they feel alone, and they would like to have a partner to play with out in the playground. So this bench is put somewhere strategically where our young students can go sit, and it's a signal to other students that I would like to have a friend to play with. So that's in every one of our elementary schools. Now this picture is a picture of two students at Weiser Park, and we're getting ready to show you a video of how this started and also show you some activities in our elementary schools where they are using the social emotional lessons and family circles.
We have 5-year-olds that can talk neuroscience and talk about the 3 parts of their brain. They can talk about the frontal lobe or the frontal cortex and their thinking area of their brain. They can talk about their emotion area of their brain, and they can talk about more of their brain stem and that more reptilian part of their brain. I think that's just a unique thing that we've been offering our kids and really been working with them on for the last couple of years, because it shows them that sometimes behavior isn't a choice, but it's something that's going on. And then we're offering them a way to change their brain states in order to help manage and regulate their behavior better. And I do believe that has made our students very unique as they progress through our school and then go on to middle and high school. They'll have that capacity to regulate themselves.
Happy. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm healthy. I'm loving. I'm loving. I'm caring. I'm caring. I'm successful. I'm successful. And every day in every way. And every day in every way. I'm getting better and better. I'm getting better and better. Believe it. Believe it. Today I'll do the right thing even if I don't feel like it. Today I'll do the right thing even if I don't feel like it. Today I will treat people right even if I don't feel like it. Today I will treat people right even if I don't feel like it. Today I'll remember my willpower. Today I'll remember my willpower is stronger than how I feel or what I think. It's stronger than how I feel or what I think.
What I want people to know about the Buddy Bench is that you're welcome to sit on it, you're welcome to use it, and if you see other people on the bench, ask them to play. It's awesome because it'll help you make new friends that way. And I also want people to know that you don't just have to be an adult to make a difference, you could be a kid too, and it all starts with you. One small thing can make a big difference. Just opening the door for someone, it makes a big chain reaction. Because other people will then want to do it because they felt kindness and they want to spread kindness, because I think that kindness is contagious. My advice to people that want to take their ideas to action is that you can do anything. Just one small thing can make a big difference. I started with one bottle cap, so anything can happen. And just remember that you don't just have to be an adult to make a difference, you could be a kid too.
So as you can see, this is how our students are expanding our whole concept of character, good citizenship, and as well as the other Cs, other global competencies, and expanding them beyond our own classroom walls, but going out into the community. Just like the older students working with the younger students, our high school students expanding into the community. So that's our goal, is to be inclusive and to ensure that our students become students of character and citizenship. Thank you.
Great job.
So, what about high school? What are we doing at the high school level? Or secondary, I mean, I understand the buddy bench is also used in middle school, but I assume we also have some efforts at the high school level?
Yeah, so this summer we pulled high school teachers together and they actually developed lessons around the social and emotional competencies for their students. So we really needed teacher buy-in. So instead of us just giving them the lessons, they created those lessons and those resources. So we've started implementing those. We've done the bullying curriculum. As Dr. Daniel and Faye have met with their focus groups, we've realized that they needed more therapists. They wanted someone to talk to. They were losing some connection. They were feeling a little bit lonely. And so we're really focusing on getting the Get Schooled tour into our schools. It's a 45-minute virtual presentation, getting them to think about, when you feel alone, what should you do? And how do you do that? And here's a resource for you, so you don't have to be alone. And so we invested some extra money with Bowen so that we could make this available for our students so they can call directly to get the help that they need. We also do restorative practices, really working on those teachers with the virtual kids. You can still do circles and talk about what are the norms of the classroom, what are the expectations, what are your needs from me as a teacher, and really getting them all to have a voice in the classroom.
Are we making some efforts at, outreach to virtual students? Anything in particular there? I think we...
So part of the reason that we are, and Liz mentioned Get School tours, Clinton Falpo used to come to our schools and talk about suicide ideation. And so as we've been working with him and his organization this year, they actually hired, I don't know if you remember, Christiana Danielle, who was in The Voice. She is actually the person now that's going to work with the high school piece of this. But the students that are remote will be able to tap into these videos and become part of that conversation at home, just as the students in the classroom. And that's one of the reasons that we're adding that component, because it addresses the students that are totally remote as a part of the conversation and as a part of the supports.
I had several questions for the presenters. If you come from a large family, teasing is a part of growing up. And so how do you take that behavior, which is, for the most part, good-natured, although I'm sure, well, I know it gets out of hand, but in a public setting now, you've got young people who are probably, when not on task, causing some mischief, teasing somebody. Where does it cross the line to where it becomes more than that and a negative bullying behavior?
So I can answer that question because I'm the only girl with 3 brothers. And I'm still traumatized from what they did to my doll, and one of them pulling one arm and the other pulling the other and the head popping off. So as I think about that and the things that we are doing and working with students, it really goes back to the climate and culture that you create in the school. There are behaviors that you have when you go to a ball game. There are behaviors that you have when you go to church, and helping students to understand that when you come to school, there's some expectations. So we start out every year with positive behavior interventions and supports, or PBIS, to help set that culture, set those expectations for what should happen in every aspect of the building, whether it's in a classroom, hallway, cafeteria, so that students understand the things you do at home may be fine at home, but the things you need to do and how you need to operate when you're in a collaborative community are different. And so continuing to provide those lessons.
Question number 2. when there is an incident that we accept, do we categorize, I didn't look at the form, but do we categorize that behavior if it's focused on, the other person's race, sexual identity, appearance? I mean, do we have a fairly good idea as to what that student is doing to the other student?
We do. There's an investigation process, and I'll let Liz talk. I told her she was going to come and that she was going to answer some questions, so I'm going to let her do that.
So we follow the investigation process, which is outlined in our board policy. And if all 5 questions are answered yes, that determined that there was bullying. At that point in time, when you enter it into our behavior codes, it's broken down by what type of bullying. Was it virtual? Was it based on race? Was it based, I don't know, was it harassment? So we kind of go through. So it's very specific on how it's actually entered into our system.
I'm looking very quickly at the form, and it looks like one of the questions does that. But I'm wondering, how firm that information is that might then help us lead to the type of behavior modification or programming that...
Yeah, absolutely. So the state requires that we keep this data until the students actually graduate from high school. So a couple years even after they graduate. David would probably come up here and say, Liz, you remember it's 7 years. Because we worked on this policy for a long time. So we keep the data for a long time, but we also at the end of every school year have to review that data. So we meet with the schools, we talk about what does their data look like, and we try to do this as well in January. So what are hot things going on in your school? Where do we need to come in and do some behavior interventions? Is it something that's maybe about race? And do we need to come in and talk about that with your students?
This video that we saw really wasn't directed to students. I assume it was to an adult audience and more promoting the buddy bench idea. So do we have a communication plan with respect to bullying for our students? I would assume that they all have a phone.
Yeah, so they can report bullying through our Let's Talk app. So that's how they can report it. But we actually have the curriculum that's embedded in the language arts, and that's whether you're...
But we don't have videos that promote positive behaviors that go directly to students?
It's built in. So we actually worked with the Pacers organization, has a full curriculum layout, lots of resources, and so we pulled a lot of the good videos from there.
Last year, I think it was last year, we had some parents who weren't real happy with this. And I think it was also with respect to when we were creating new material on our website. And I think we did make some modifications to it, but in developing what we now have, which seems to be much more comprehensive, did we have any conversations with some of those unhappy parents?
Not this year. They've been very happy, I guess. But for sure, so that's why we also asked the teachers to get involved, because they were getting lots of feedback about the lessons, even from the students, and we wanted to make sure it appeased everyone and it was meaningful.
Mr. Corona, we also, as we pull materials from Dr. Desatel and Butler University, that provides a lot of support to the IDOE, as they create videos also and make those available to us. But when we get them in the system, in Fort Wayne Community Schools, we vet them as well to make sure that we don't have hot buttons. There was one video they released that was actually around Jackie Robinson, and I don't know if you guys remember the scene where he was out on the field and they were yelling derogatory names, and that there were parts of that we took away because it was using the N-word, and we didn't want to, incite anyone. So we go through and we vet those videos before we put them out as part of the resources and before they're embedded into curriculum. And we also use them in professional learning so that then administrators and teachers also have a separate resource that they can go to, not just the language arts embedded lessons.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
The video that you showed stating that the Bowen Center would provide free mental health counselors for kids, is that something that they've seen already, or is that something that you're going to roll out?
You want to talk about that? Sure. So this is a new rollout, and Bowen gave us a flyer, but it was not student-friendly. And so Remedy Life stepped up and said, let us make a video for you. So we're going to be pushing that out and then asking someone else to kind of create a flyer so that we can get it in kids' hands so that they know they have direct access. They don't have to go to a counselor. If they need help, they can go immediately there. The other thing we did with Bowen is that we created workshops on what do our teachers need. So on our Wellness Wednesdays, when we have our 2-hour delays, how do we get them to focus on compassion fatigue or a self-care plan so that, like Fade said, so that they're regulated so they can take care of our children.
How are you getting that information out as far as the free mental health counselors to parents who might want to encourage their students or their kids to
Yeah,
use
so
that resource?
we'll use Peach Jar is going to be, once we have the brochure where we want it to be.
Okay.
And push that out to parents as well.
And then one more question, as far as the bullying is concerned, I understand that you have the Let's Talk. How utilized is that with students? Is that something that they're really aware of or that they
So-
use a lot?
Yeah, at the middle school and high school, they'll use it on occasion, but usually it's a conversation that they have with a trusted adult in the building, or at the elementary, maybe it's a parent that will get on. But usually it's the kids talking to us, asking us to look into it. You know, and as we investigate, you know, you may get 40 kids that say they were bullied, but once we do the investigation, only 20 of those are actually true bullying. But that's a perfect time, then we teach them about the true definition of what bullying is, and then we bring in those character traits of what does it mean to be a good citizen in our schools. So it's a learning process for all of us.
Thank you.
I had an additional question. This all sounds great, and I get that students exercise these lessons when adults are around. And I was a bus rider. I don't know that I was ever bullied on the bus. But I feel like disciplines become laxed in environments where there aren't adults to enforce them. Is there any emphasis on behavior on the bus or making sure that we carry these fabulous lessons onto the bus? Just ask.
So as Faye was talking about the PBIS lessons and setting the expectations, there's also a lesson around the bus. So how do you act on the bus? How do you treat the person sitting, you know, with you? How do you treat the bus driver? What are the rules and regulations? So we do that at the beginning of the year, and then schools are supposed to follow back up with that in January. So again, we followed the data, and some schools had lots of bus referrals last year, so we came in with the bus drivers and the administration, and we kind of would come up with a plan to support the bus drivers as well. So some of that was just before the kids leave, we bring them back into their homeroom or advisory, and we revisit. What are the expectations on the bus? And what happens if you lose that bus privilege? So yes, very much so.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Well, thank you very much for the information. So that brings us to the close of our meeting. We next meet in 2 weeks on Monday, November 23rd. And also, board members, we're planning an executive session on Wednesday, December 2nd, which would be the Wednesday after Thanksgiving break, to finish up the superintendent goals for the school year, 5 o'clock, just like what we did last time. So put that on your calendar, 5 o'clock, Wednesday, December 2nd. Okay, so that just brings us to member comments.
No comments this evening.
Okay, Tom?
Yes, I would like to officially state that I will be resigning my position on the school board, and that will be effective on January 1, 2021. And I would hope that by letting this be known, that it would give the board enough time between now in January, if they should choose to begin a process of people applying to fill my position. I can say that as of right now, I'm aware of 2 people who have expressed an interest in applying. So I think that that will work well if the board should choose. I give you enough advance notice to begin a process to replace me, and I think that's the most important thing that can happen. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for letting us know well in advance so we can get that important seat filled.
Yes.
Thank you.
No
Maria?
comment.
No?
No comment.
Raleigh?
I just want to encourage the families that are watching to make sure that you are following on social media. Some information about the lottery being open just went up on Facebook, and the schools are being highlighted. So make sure you check that out.
Okay, great. Dr. Daniel, is there anything you wanted to
Yes,
mention?
matter of fact, Raleigh, your feed me this is dovetail very nicely. So you're exactly right. Lottery applications process is now open. Virtual showcase launched last week. You can go to www.fortwayneschools.org/showcase to learn more about our individual schools, view videos from each school, and complete an application to the school of their choice. The lottery application process closes on December 28th, with our lottery drawing taking place January 22nd. I can just tell you from watching the bullying and so forth and what we do for SEL, every building I've been in so far, and I've been in quite a few of the elementary buildings and nearly all the middle schools and high schools, this has been done very well. This whole idea of what is restorative practice, how do we go about creating and teaching students to self-regulate. And I can tell you that districts across the country are striving to do this sort of thing, and it truly begins even pre-K. So I tip my hat to this department because I think they've done an excellent job. And as such, I think each and every one of our schools are excellent. And quite frankly, you could find a specialized magnet program or a great neighborhood school just around the corner. So again, families, go to that website, fortwayneschools.org/showcase. See what we have to offer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I really don't have anything, so is anyone interested in adjourning?
Move for adjournment.
Second.
It's a battle. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Maria, I guess. So all those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Glenna? Opposed? Okay, the microphone is open if anyone